Would you take just a couple of minutes just to, were there any sayings that your father had? Like you remember him saying, Tony, always remember to, do you remember any of the stuff that he said to you? Let's roll on this.
Well, I remember the things that he did more than the things that he said.
Such as?
For example, he would he just a waiter, didn't make that much money, had a big family, but on Mondays, the restaurant was closed, but he would do banquets. And he had this metal cup, and all the money that he made on Monday, he put in the metal cup, and he said, that's for the church. That's for the propagation of the faith. And I mean, this guy was giving from, what, not from his excess.
Right.
And, he was very faith-based, and that value was, I think, an important one too. But he was so committed to education. I remember, I'm in high school, and I come home, and I'm a freshman, and I come home with a B in Russian. Okay, and I took 4 years of Russian in high school. I went to a really great high school back in the 60s. Had Russian and Mandarin dialect Chinese in high school. So I'm taking Russian. I come home with a B, and he looked at me and he said, Tony, Anthony, you're going to have to quit playing sports. You got a B. I said, I'm going, holy cow, you can't do this to me. That was it. I mean, I said, you got to get that up. And of course, baseball was a spring sport, and that was my number one sport. And I was playing basketball or whatever that was. And I had to quit because I brought a B home. He said, you're better than that.
Wow.
So he was uncompromising. But I also knew that, he sent me to this really fabulous all boys high school. And I know what a sacrifice it was for him to try to find a way to pay for that.
Do you remember what the tuition was?
It wasn't that much. I mean, it's back in the 60s for him.
But for him.
My two brothers got out of medical school. They didn't owe $1.
Because of him?
Yeah. The other thing, Augie Bush, this is something that you'll find interesting. Augie Bush told my dad, and the guy, and he also waited on the president of Monsanto, and he would wait on them. And he said, Augie said, Tony, I'm going to give you a tip. Of course. You're waiting on me, but I'm going to give you another tip. Every time you get $100 buy Anheuser-Busch stock, stick it in the safe deposit box and don't ever sell it. It'll take care of your family. Did the same thing with Monsanto. He died with never made more than $14,000 a year, and he died with an estate of $1.6 million.
Your dad?
Yeah. He's a smart man. Now there's anything, talking about anything is possible. He did exactly that. He bought that, he invested, he saved his money, and he was able to pay for my brothers to go to medical school. As he got later in life, he gained financial independence so that he could do these, the fact that he was sick and he had these issues, all of a sudden that sort of freed him because he'd taken care of his family.
Take care of your family.
Yeah. So,
also,
I'm trying to emulate him in terms of his investment strategy. It's not quite as easy to do.
But the notion that the people he waited on as a waiter saw the possibility in him. There was some essential quality about your father that they believed in.
Yes.
To give him that advice, to care about him. He had some essence that attracted them.
It's just not something you think about,
Right.
People are, it's waiter, it's whatever, but it was that kind of a restaurant though, where the waiters kind of made the place, But even so, he invested his money and he saved his money and he created financial independence eventually for the family. And like I said, how many people go to medical school nowadays and come out with no debt?
No debt. Wow. Thank you, Mr. Spezia.
That's good. Well, thank you to
Big Tony.
Yeah, Big Tony. Yeah, yes.
Thank you for
Thank
being
you very
here.
much.